Hello, welcome back. This is going to be my episode 7 review video on the Acolyte. Um, I feel like I'm enjoying the Acolyte quite a lot now. I think some of it is a bit shaky. I don't, I don't know. I've never been really good at this, but I'm not sure if it's the actor's style and none of that, not many of them can act, or if it's not the best story writing or um something like that, like something's kind of lacking a bit for me. Um, and I'm not completely sure what it is, but it's maybe someone can help me with it a bit. But yeah, it's not quite on par. But I'm very much enjoying the idea, and I think we've got it before in previous episodes, but this episode really hammered it home for me. The fact that the Jedi are not these amazingly good um characters. They're a little bit uh they're a bit grey we thought. Um it's the very much the attitude of we are Jedi, and if other cultures don't understand us, we are superior. Like it's almost that kind of concept. But yeah, not quite also at the same time. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed that. Um, so anyway, I'll talk about it scene by scene. So the the planet is quite interesting because 100 years ago there was a hyperspace accident around its planet, and we're not given too much information about it. But it would appear like either two things are happening. Either the forces are kind of fighting back, and give a knife to this planet very, very quickly, which could be the case. And then, yeah, basically, whatever happens on that planet, it's kind of give a knife to it very quickly. Um, this of versions on the planet. Um, and I kind of like that idea. Or is it something to do with hyperspace and like maybe it's sped up time a bit now or not? Hmm, not quite time on the planet, but like life, like maybe rather than it being 100 years, it's like 1,000 years, but sped up if you see what I mean. Sort of, I don't know, semi time travel, but also not time travel at all. I wonder if that's going on, or if somehow when this accident occurred, if it, um, what's the word? I, I, I don't know if it's a completely separate accident or part of the coven, the witch coven um set up this accident. I don't think we will ever find out, but it's a cool little concept. Anyway, it happened 100 years ago. Now that's quite interesting because it's 100 years after this. It's the fall of the general divide of the empire. So I wonder if that's important, because also Anakin is brought to life about 100 years. So I wonder if this 100 years thing happens like every 100 years. There's like a new um thing born, like, you know. And it's funny because the prophecy Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn talk about, I wonder if this is part of the prophecy. Like, does it happen every 100 years? Because the apprentice Tobin didn't seem to know anything about the prophecy. Like, it wasn't talked about the prophecy. So that's a bit vague. But either way, I quite like it. Um, I mean, I'm not totally sure if I don't know if I like the idea that May and Osha were brought to life through like dark powered or force powered, I should say, not dark. Um because obviously in Resident material it was a Darth Plagueis who actually discovered that power. So I don't quite know if I like that. It just it makes Darth Plagueis seem not so important in the future, or wherever he is right now in the time period, um, which is interesting. I I think I do kind of hope this series goes on to another series, like series two. But I don't know how much I wanted to continue. If like, do I want it to continue with the same people and the same sort of story, or do I want it to transfer to another characters but still be their acolyte? I'm not really sure what I prefer. Um, I mean, I really like the Sith Lord, or the yeah, sort of Sith. I'm not sure if he's the real Sith or if he's someone trying to be a Sith, if you see what I mean. Um, because as I said before, I don't know where Darth Tenebris is, um, and Darth Plagueis. Um, so we'll see, about that. But it's going back a bit. It's funny because there was meant to be no life on that planet 100 years ago. So where did all that rock come from? And that like that whole complex. Um, did they build that all in 100 years, or was that already there? But there was no life on that planet whatsoever. Um, maybe there was life before, and then this thing happened, hyperspace accident, and then there was nothing for 100 years, and then it grew back. Maybe. Um, and then the Night Sisters actually got called Night Sisters, which was quite nice. I'm not sure if they would call that in episode 2 or 3. Can't quite remember. Um, and also how many like cousins are there? Like the mother seemed to be not the Zabbat Rag, the other one. She seemed to be quite nice. Which spoilers, which kind of took away her death. Like we already knew from episode 3 she was not too bad, but this one shows she wasn't bad at all. In fact, she was quite nice. I mean, I'm not sure what she was going to do when she went all mysterious. I think maybe she was just moving herself, her body away to another area, um, which kind of, yeah. You see, I kind of thought the Jedi did something worse, but also it was quite severe. Like they did kill the mother for no real reason, other than their own fear. Um, the bit where she took over Torben's mind, that was quite interesting to see it from like the other side, as it were. Um, I mean, I thought she had um done something a bit worse, but she just wanted him to go go away and go back to Corridor. Which yeah, quite nice. Um, so yeah, I thought to begin with she would somehow be Mother Tolkien from the Clone Wars, but I don't think she is. She seems too nice. Um, and they redid it to see whether the midichlorian count or the M count, which I thought was incredibly interesting because in episode 2 I remember commenting about how that wasn't quite done to like Ruthie Tolman took her blood but also didn't see any results talked about um, at all. Which, yeah, it's quite high. And I remember commenting also about how I kind of thought they were, what's the word? Kind of two people were one person. I remember commenting on that. And that's now right. So I wonder if, I think we've got one more episode. So I don't know if we will either see them like merge together and be one person, or they both die, or one dies but like able to absorb the other um twin. Well, they're not twins, but absorb the other twin. So we've then got Osha May or Mayosha. Um, Even though annoyingly, I don't think they will still be alive at the end of the series because they will be too overpowered. My only other question is if that Emmett count is already high and they merge into one being or something like that, I wonder if, like, does that mean that Emmett count is even higher than it is now? Or will it just stay the same? So, and they both of the mothers were questioned about um, how the twins were made. So that's they sort of know. So I do think this is where the prophecy will come from. Like, if beings can do it once, um, somehow someone will do it again. And the main Jedi Master, who I can't remember her name, um, she was amazing, by the way. Really good actress. And I'm like 99% sure she's the same actress as in The Matrix. Um, quite sure. Think I remember seeing it too, so yeah. So, um, and I really like her because she's very Jedi-ish and very centered, whereas Soul is a little bit shaky. We've already seen women get angry in the previous episode, and then in this one, Soul was a bit frustrated with the Order himself, whereas she's much more how a Jedi should be. Like, maybe even more so than Yoda, to be honest. Um, it's kind of a shame it started in episode 1, um, because I'm not sure. Obviously, her versus the Sith Lord would be quite interesting. Um, because not only is she like um, physically able, we saw her take on pretty much the whole coven. Okay, not the two mothers, but the rest of the coven. Um, did that mind control with the Wookiee, and she was able to break it by herself with pretty much, I wouldn't say ease, but pretty easily overcome that. Um, I don't really understand how the Wookiee was able to be taken over, but somehow the Padawan wasn't, or he did to begin with, and then after that time, he was able to like go, okay, now I'm more focused. I can block out her mind. Um, which in a way was quite good because we saw over that 16-year gap where he didn't talk to anyone. He was he he was able to get to the place where he could physically block any attack without even thinking about it. So I quite like that kind of callback to episode 2 where Tolkien is like probably one of the most powerful Jedi we've ever seen. People might disagree with that a bit, but you know. I think the only thing I'm complaining about this series a bit, and to be honest, maybe it's a good complaint, is I'm not sure where the power levels are of each character. They seem to almost vary quite a lot within the like fight scene, depending on the story situation. Which I don't honestly know what to think about. Um, because you've got the I'm so bad with the names. So we've got the young apprentice who died in episode for she was only an apprentice, but she was able to take on the Sith Lord on quite a good foothold for quite a way, because I did see a video about it, and basically it's because she was quite focused within the fight until she began to push or reach a bit too much, and then the Sith kind of took advantage of her being brave, if you like, and was able to slowly wear her down until he got his double parade thing out, which was quite a good death, to be honest. And then we had Yord, who put a good fight, to be fair. But he does. And then we had the Acolyte, who was it at that point? May, who was able to take on one of the most powerful masters in episode 1. And okay, the master was a bit did it with quite ease, but they was still able to defeat her, which is fine. And then we had the Sith take on the Wookiee and kill him really easily, because I presume his helmet keeps him hidden with the Force. So maybe that's not a fair comparison. But then it took Sol and Tobin to take on the Wookiee until the other master came in. So it's all a little bit it depends on who's fighting and who it's a little bit vague who's like the most powerful. And then, as I said earlier, Tobin and his like force shield when they meditated, that was amazingly epic. So it is, but then I suppose Tobin did have 6 years to get his mind stupidly strong because of being evaded by the mother. And the Wookiee who took his eye basically and scarred him. So it'd be something I would like to do is at the end of this series rewatch it from the beginning. I think that could be quite interesting. Because I'm not sure there were subtle hints. You see, I didn't guess for quite a while that the shopkeeper was the Sith, but I remember commenting actually in episode 2, right at the end, where Osha and the shopkeeper, like, Osha tries to defend herself, kill him, and he defends it like almost too easily, and I remember going so there were like hints there. And I really like the fact that, I think I said it about last week's episode too, but the fact that the shopkeeper, the chef, was right now, but yet he hid himself and he wasn't wearing his helmet at that point. He was able to hide himself. I don't think he's able to hide himself but because they were so focused on the mystery bad guy, they didn't think, they didn't go, oh, maybe it could be you. Um, which I think is so interesting from a like a story point of view. Um, but he's like not using any force powers per se, but he's almost using the dark persona he had to hide his presence intent um, from everyone. So that's quite interesting. And the fact that the Jedi are almost too um what's the word, like um too high and mighty, there's a better word for it. But too high and mighty to think, oh, you could be a Sith. And I don't know if that's like good or bad. Like it's almost good they don't expect everyone because like that would be paranoia and that would lead more to the dark side again than going, okay, maybe this guy had the better intentions, or guy, woman, whatever robot. So maybe that's the Jedi's downfall. Which is something else the mother said. Um, and I can't quite remember the words of it. Um, but yeah, I found that interesting. Uh, very interesting. Um, so yeah, it was a really interesting episode. Um, I mean, it didn't quite feel like an episode because we got quite a lot of footage we've already seen from episode 3. So it was almost like episode 3.5. Um, so we got some good conversations from the other side, like about the M account. Um, yeah, what else? Um, oh, and the fact that Still had both sisters within his force grip, power, whatever you want to call it. And then because he wasn't strong enough or too much going on or whatever words you want to use, he decided to pick pick Osha over May, which is quite interesting. Maybe not dark per se, because he almost had to pick one over the other. So yeah, not dark, but interesting how he had to pick one. And I mean, he had to pick one, so to pick May wouldn't have made any sense. You know. Did weren't they right about Lion? I That's a difficult one because he it reminds me actually of the whole Obi-Wan thing and lying about what is it? Uh, oh my god, he lied about Luke's father being Anakin over Darth Vader. That's it. And he his lying in he doesn't he didn't lie. He told the truth from a certain point of view. Like, did May start the fire? Yeah, May started the fire, but only after, like, the second mother, as it were, told her to put up a bit of a fight, basically. But Sol didn't tell Osha or tell me. No, tell Osha. Sure. Like what truly happened to their mother. And I mean, I get it. That much be a recent difficult conversation. So I don't blame him for that too much. But also, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know where the covered went. Like, are they still on that planet, or does that power mean they could be anywhere? Um, See, I almost want to know more about the what do they call night sisters in general now, because we've now seen them 3 times in Star Wars. We've seen them in the what's it called? We've seen them in this, and I'm quite sure these are not the same witches as in the witches from the Dathomir. They seem a lot more darker, even though these witches in episode 2 or 3 I think it was, talk about the Jedi hunting the covers down. And then in Ahsoka, we see more witches, and they seem to be. It seems to be back in time. There were almost the Jedi who are quite sure were called the Jedi, who came from a moon. Sorry, they came from a planet and then they separated, and then they came one side, one faction became the Jedi, and one faction were like darker Jedi, basically. That's kind of my understanding. And then sorry, and then the Sith were actually a whole different race of beings. And then the Night Sisters seem to always be another race entirely. So I'm not sure what they will end up doing with the differences. I'm hoping we get more of a coherent story. Is it as simple as they're all the same, but any witch can start their own like coven, or are they all the same coven? But this at different like points throughout there, if you like, or are they exactly the same? And it's this mother does he turn into the do they now go to Dathomir? I don't think so. I think they're all like slightly different. I mean, the coven in this one and in Ahsoka doesn't seem to be very big. I didn't count them, but maybe 10, 20. And then in Ahsoka there's maybe 5. Um, and then Mother Told then um, has a little bit more than that. She's like, she seems to almost be the overall mother. Um, but yeah, um, I kind of wonder if we will get more of that explanation in Ahsoka because the witches came from that planet in Ahsoka um, to begin with, and then they got. I feel like they got scared away by the father, mother, the father, son, and the sister. Um, that's how I read it, and then they came to um, the universe we know, and then so it's all a little bit vague. Um, so it would be nice to get a bit more of a coherent story with the Night Sisters. Um, a bit. Um, do I want a series dedicated towards them? Mm, almost. Um, but also, I'm okay with it and then mixing it with Jedi, but also not quite. Because Darth Sidious actually goes to Dathomir to defeat all the sisters. And then the Mother turns up again right at the end of the Clone Wars. And then Mace Windu and I think it's Jar Jar Binks actually defeats her like for final time. And then I don't think we see her again after that. Um, yeah, so it's that's a really good story actually because um what's the face? Darth Maul is actually from that planet too. He's like the male, isn't he? Um, so well, he's already male, but the yeah males of that planet are Zabba rats. Um, so that's quite interesting, I think. Um, yeah, but yeah, to have a coherent story about the Night Sisters would be amazing. Um, anyway, I think next week is episode 8, and I have a feeling that's the end of the series. Um, which is a shame because I'm kind of, despite, as I say, some of the acting, writing, or maybe it's just the Jedi of the time period being so kind of calm and not very forthcoming with information. Maybe that's more what it is than acting or writing or whatever. It's a bit like, yeah, I'll do what I'm told. Whereas you get to like adding in Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, they seem to be a lot more forthcoming with information. And maybe they've got a bit more of a personality. Um, whereas this time period, they're all a little bit regimented into you can't have any of your own thoughts at all. Um, you know, especially the female master in this episode. She is a bit too well, as I said before, she's a bit too not too. She's very proper, like a Jedi should be. Um, and I think the mother even comments about how the Jedi are a big institution, which I thought was quite interesting because actually, yeah, I don't, I don't think the Jedi are 100% good. I think they've got good intentions, but also they do take away children from their families. And in episode 2, I said how they seem to need to train the girls because it's their like responsibility to get as many Force wielders as possible. Um, so that was interesting. So yeah, one more episode. Um, and I almost feel like there's almost two stories out there, but there's two big stories happening at the same time, and I'm not sure if they're both important or neither of them is. Like, I still don't know if the Sith is aware of the twins being made from the Force. Like, I don't know if he knows that, or if he just thinks, oh, and they're twins. Ah, well, they seem powerful. Like, I don't know how in the know he is. Um, I don't. May does have that tattoo, that symbol. Um, so maybe he knows. Um, or maybe he doesn't know, but he knows of the. Well, he always knows what nights are because he even told me that. But he's, it'd be interesting to know how much the Sith is aware of their past. Um, I presume quite a bit. I think that's my other gripe with this series. There seems to be quite a lot of conversations happening off the screen. Like, I kind of thought this episode would be a flashback vine, but we almost need a bit more of a flash forward, as in she may, when she finds this shift, because we still don't know, like, have they been together for years, weeks, days before we see her in episode 1? Like, what's the time scale? Like, it could be 10 years, 20 years. I don't know how old she is, I think. Maybe 20. So, what, 10 years haven't they been together? Like, has he always kept an eye on her? Like, yeah, I think that forward would be nice. Even if after May fell down, from Charlotte not catching her, like, was he already there? Like, was May somehow really hurt? And then she woke up from a coma, like, 2 years later, and he happened to be in the spatial field of her and pick her up. Like, I kind of presume at this point that that has been, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks before episode 1, he kind of came to her. But even that, like, did he come to her or did she, like, find him somehow? because of her being like dark magic, did she somehow send him, or I presume he did have sent her because he's quite overpowered. I think. Um. So yeah, next week's episode um should be good. We should find out who he is, um, in regards to who his master was. I did see some interesting comments about his back scar, and it looks like a lightsaber whip. That would make the most sense as he was a Jedi. But also, could that have been formed using Sith lightning? Um, I think it's probably the lightsaber whip. However, I am not sure. Um, that could have been a red herring. No. So we have to wait and see. Um, so yeah, that's my thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.